Welcome to another episode of Eat, Smoke, Drink. I'm Eat, Smoke, Drink. Today, I am going to review a Signatory vintage cask strength, independently bottled Mortlach 1990, 24 years. This is actually bottled in 2015, so it's quite an old bottling, but it's a good way to kind of, well, look, to be honest, it doesn't really matter because every independently bottled is different. It's more kind of highlighting what Mortlach is like and what Signatory vintage is like with bottling Mortlach. I find Signatory vintage, they have, well actually I find all independently bottled, so far from my experience, all independent bottlers have a strength with certain distilleries because they have their own style. And Signatory vintage I find to be unreserved and completely just no shame with their bottlings when it comes to punch, when it comes to ruggedness, when it comes to rustic feel. They don't have that shyness of it, and they do Mortlach very well. They also do Lecheg very well, I find, but they do Mortlach very well because they just let Mortlach do its thing. So Mortlach, a lot of people probably have never heard of Mortlach. Mortlach recently had a resurgence with distillery bottlings in duty free and things like that. In different stores and liquor stores, so they've become a little bit more mainstream lately. But Mortlach is owned by Diageo. It is a Speyside whiskey owned by Diageo, and Mortlach is actually a very, very key component of pretty much most Johnnie Walker blends. Johnnie Walker whiskey. Why? Well, Mortlach is known as the Beast of Dufftown. Go figure. So Beast of Dufftown, that's because they're beastie as hell. Self-explanatory. So Mortlach is the Beast of Dufftown. It's a key component for a lot of Johnnie Walker blends because they add that body, complexity, heaviness onto the whiskey. This one here is a sherry butt. They're matured in a sherry butt at 56.5% at 24 years old. So by all means, it's quite a mature whiskey. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Let's taste. Another fact about Mortlach as well, I've mentioned this in my past reviews, and what I'll do is I'll link a whiskey also with the same thing. It's called a worm tub. Mortlach still uses worm tubs. In a nutshell, I'm not going to bore you with the technical engineering details, but worm tubs is a slightly more old-fashioned, rudimentary way of distilling and condensing the spirit. And what it does is it lets more heavy elements through, it lets a lot more heavy flavors through, and that's where you get heaviness, meatiness, just anything heavy and chunky. That's what's called the Beast of Dufftown. They use worm tubs. So I'm going to put a link up here where you can look at another review of a whiskey that uses a worm tub. Look, it's massive. I mean, it says it's matured in a sherry butt, so it's matured in a sherry butt, but the sherry influence is not too heavy. Okay, I can get that sherry influence, but it really is. I mean, I don't know if it's whole life it's a sherry butt, but I'm getting a little bit of vanilla and coconut in there. So I reckon at some point it was also bourbon, but if it's not, then that's just a random convergence of flavors right there. Because usually when it says matured in, not finished in, matured in, its whole life is sherry, so we'll see. I'm getting heavy minerality in that straight away. Minerality. I'm getting a strange perfume. I'll put my finger on it. I'm getting cedar. I'm getting pine. I'm getting a spice. I'm thinking black pepper, honey. I'm getting a slight oiliness. Reminds me of meat fat, like from a salami or a chunky sausage. Stones. I'm getting stones, wet stones, but quite metallic. I'm getting a metallic smell to it. And it's not a bad thing. All these things I'm pointing out is not a bad thing. You might be thinking, going, ugh. You know, it's not. It's not a bad thing. That's what I'm smelling. That's the beauty about whiskies, is that you smell all these things, but all these things come together for an awesomeness. Let's nose the one with water. That's strange. I'm getting a strawberry jam. A little bit of a strawberry jam with the water. And this might sound really weird, but I'm getting prosciutto in there. I'm getting a prosciutto, like a cured meat, but a light cured meat. Not too much like a salami, but more like a prosciutto really. I'm getting caramel, I'm getting toffee, a bit of fudge, but yeah, the metallic nose is really quite prevalent. It is quite metallic. It sounds really weird, but I smell the spray, like a disinfectant spray in there as well. Just that alcohol-y, resiny smell of that. I think the pine resin is what's reminding me of that. It's very pine resiny. There's not much fruit in there. I'm getting a little bit of cinnamon. I'm getting a little bit of yeah, look, it was interesting because the sherry influence is not very pronounced. I can't get that sherry influence massively. To me, it's a sherry and bourbon combo, you know? So it's really interesting, but let's get tasting. For a 56%, quite tapered, but wow, it's oily. Ooh, it's oily. The mouthfeel is mouth coating. It's chewy. It's big. Definitely quite a metallic whiskey. A lot of minerals, stone. I'm getting chalk. Quite spicy. Wow. Very nice. A very nice whiskey. But it is not for the faint-hearted. That's probably why they call it the Beast of Dufftown. As an entry point of whiskey, I'd probably say this is not an entry point of whiskey. But yeah. I'm not getting much out of it with a neat sample. With no water. I'm getting some spice, a bit of cinnamon. It's not really any fruitiness, but I'm getting a bit of that sherry influence now, but not too much, just a hint of that quintessential raisin, liquid raisin type of sherry influence, but not really that much. But I'm getting a lot of metallicness to it, like, I mean, I don't know how I know this, but like imagine like getting like a stick of copper or a stick of steel and you just suck on it. It's like that. It's like it's steely, it's minerally, clinical, stony. Everyone sucked on a rock before, right? So yeah, that's stony, you know. And it is a little bit kind of meaty. The prosciutto's coming through. Wow. Water just makes it open to a different set of flavors. Water, I get a fragrance, slight floral fragrance coming out. The metallicness is still there. The steeliness is just prevailing. I'm definitely getting a lot of prosciutto and that cured meat, that pancetta is coming through a lot. A slight herbal note. When I say herbal note, I actually think I'm going to change that. Slight licorice. I'm getting a slight licorice in there, like a sweet licorice. Not a salty Dutch licorice, like those little Dutch coin licorice things, and like I don't know why people want to eat that, but I'm getting a bit of licorice herbalness to it. And if you really think hard enough for it, you are getting a little bit of black pepper and a very slight saltiness, a savouriness, a saltiness. Not a coastal saltiness, but just almost a sharp saltiness. And that's why I'm thinking really pancetta, prosciutto. It's a good whiskey. It's a good whiskey, but it's not something I can sit on all night. It is maybe a 1 dram or 2 and then you move something softer or something peated and sweet. This whiskey is a beast. It is a beast. It's not for the faint-hearted. So Mortlach is not something that is entry level. I wouldn't say, and when I say entry level, I'm not trying to be a snob, like, oh, you got to level up and stuff and, you know, and get it. It's not like that. When I say entry level, I'm thinking if your palate is not used to strong spirits, it's going to wallop you. if you still shot tequila and you don't sip tequila, it's going to wallop you. Okay, so if you can't sip tequila because you can't appreciate it, then you won't appreciate this. You need to appreciate this. You really need to appreciate this at a stage of your whiskey life, once you've tried a few other whiskeys, because it is a hell of a beast. It really is a big mouthful. So, would I buy it again? Yes, I do. I love Mortlach, but like I said, it's not something I can sit on all night. It's one or two. Cigar pairings. Well, that's an interesting one. It is such a big cigar. It is a little bit savory. I'd say a sweeter cigar. A maduro, double maduro, or a añejo. I would say an Arturo Fuente Shark would be exceptional with this particular dram. I'm talking the añejo Shark, not the eye of the shark. The añejo Shark, the dark wrapper, the cognac aged wrapper, they'll be good with this. I'd say the Durastate Undercrown would be perfect for this. Durastate Undercrown, Maduro, or sungrown would be perfect for this, because it's like beast, you know, like smashing each other like a Pacific Rim. So, you know, Godzilla versus Godzilla, I think it'll be really good. Make sure you have a steak beforehand, or else you'll probably puke. And yeah, I definitely think it's worthwhile. I think it's a great whiskey. So today I'm filming in GGX Flamingo, and thank you very much, the owner Sammy, for letting me have a dram of his Mortlach today. And please hit subscribe, ring that bell, and see you again till next time. Cheers.